Welcome to Raising OKC Kids, Conversations with Metro Family in Oklahoma City. I'm Erin Page, and joining me today is local mom and co-founder of Happy Plate Concepts, Aly Cunningham, to talk about giving back. Welcome, Aly. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm a big fan of Metro Family Magazine.
Thank you, Aly. We love you for that. So I feel like I'm going to get really hungry during this podcast, thinking about all the great food at Happy Plate Concepts restaurants. You guys are a group of restaurants that includes Sunnyside Diner, S&B Burger Joint, Taqueria El Camino, and Rail Yard Pie Company. But in addition to serving all that delicious food, the company is also really intent upon serving the community by partnering with various nonprofits, many of which our listeners are familiar with and will recognize, like Care, Positive Tomorrows, Pivot, Cookies Thanksgiving, through other options. So this is a really unique focus. Aly, why have these kinds of partnerships been so important to the mission of Happy Plate Concepts, and why is it important to you personally?
So growing up, I always volunteered with my family, whether it was like serving at Thanksgiving or doing Christmas drives, wrapping presents, for kids. And so I think that was just always a part of who I was. And as my partner, Shannon Roper, and his family, they are some of the most genuine and generous people, like unconditional giving. And so we created a company with Happy Plate based on just who we were, not trying to fit into some mold, really running a business and that's within the community and a part of the community, and that just runs it from our heart. And so it's just always been a part of who we are, just in our own personal lives, and then naturally in our company. I think that it's really important to stay grounded and to feel, we're honored to be here and honored for people to come and support our restaurants, but it's a two-way street. So we want to offer something back and just not exist in the community, but really be a part of it.
That is so beautiful, Aly. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I love that you have been able to create a business that's not just a business, but around things that you're really passionate about and that you really care about. So one of the things Happy Plate Concepts does that I love, in helping nonprofits fundraise, you can create a special limited time menu to benefit an organization. And I know you were recently able to donate $6,000 to Special Care through this type of partnership. So tell us how this works, and will you have any of these kinds of fundraisers going on in your restaurants through the holiday season that families can take part in?
So we currently have a limited time menu right now. We just started it this year. We've always done specials and pop-ups and things like that, but this is the first time that we've actually paired up with an organization. We love Special Care. Kelly Dupuy at Special Care. We go back to the beginning of the original S&B's Burger Joint when I was a server and Shannon was in the kitchen cooking. So everything that she does is near and dear to our heart, and we've just really fallen in love with Special Care. So we decided that we're featuring these limited time menu items. Let's connect again with the community, and it always feels good to eat good comfort food, but then also to give back at the same time. So anyway, we have a menu right now that's going to go until November-ish, late November. So it'll run a little bit into the holiday season, and we are working with Pivot for this round. But yeah, this is something that we're going to start doing at all of our concepts, and then into next year, and we see it as part of our big plan.
Very cool. And I'm a huge Kelly Dupuy fan too. So we're going to
Are you? Awesome.
We're going to have to tell her to watch this so she can hear how much we both love her. She does.
How we can fangirl over her. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
She is. So as we move toward Thanksgiving, you guys have a really special collaboration each year between Sunnyside Diner and Cookies Thanksgiving, which is a program of other options. Each year, Cookies Thanksgiving provides a holiday meal to Oklahomans living with HIV and AIDS. Of course, this program looked really different pre-pandemic. It was a beautiful in-person community project where volunteers would come to Sunnyside to prepare, package up, and then deliver the food. So that's had to morph a bit, we know, last year and this year too. But the program will still provide all the fixings for Thanksgiving to about 1,000 people in the metro. Tell us more about what this partnership has meant to you to see the community coming together in this way. And are there still ways our listeners can help?
So, this is a program of other options that has been happening for, I think they're on their 22nd year this year. And when we joined, I think that was on year 19. They, we're doing an amazing job getting this food out, still preparing it. But it was kind of pieced around the city, and there were community partners that were offering their space, which was amazing. But I think they were doing about 350. And so again, Shannon and I were just like, we should cook some food for Thanksgiving and just serve it to people. And we know that organizations are doing that already. And so we called, I'm a big fan of Mary Arbuckle as well. We were associated through a semi-pro football team, the Oklahoma City Lightning, back in the day, when I was just a young pup. And so Other Options is an amazing organization. And I just called her and like, let's try to make this bigger and do more, and also just offer an easier space. I love systems and spreadsheets, and how do we turn this into something that is sustainable, that has, no matter who's doing it, they know how to do it. They have community partners already committed to it. And so that's kind of how it just grew into 1,000 people. And the amazing thing is that Other Options not only serves those within the community that have or are diagnosed with AIDS or HIV, it's also for their caretakers, for their family. So it's anyone infected or affected by that. And so I think that that's even, that makes it even more special to be able to take care of the people that have been caretakers, especially on a holiday built around gathering and as a family and giving thanks for what we have.
And that has become even more difficult during the pandemic for people to gather. So I know last year, it's always a gift to be able to provide meals to these individuals and families. But I think last year, maybe it meant even more, because none of us, for the most part, were gathering in traditional ways, especially those at high risk. So it really is a special partnership, and really beautiful to see the way the community can come together to serve the individuals through Other Options and Cookies Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's the kind of amazing seat that I have. The view that I get is that I get to see the community come together, and the feelings that they get from that. I mean, it just fills their cup. And so then to know that there's a whole other side of that, even of those that are receiving these meals. I mean, there's many clients that are like, you are the only person I'm going to see today when their food gets delivered. And so, if the delivery drivers are invited in, we encourage them, if you feel comfortable, go inside and talk. And so, yeah, the pandemic kind of put a damper on that, and it makes you cherish those moments even more.
Definitely. Also, in the spirit of giving back, Happy Plate Concepts operates Pine Pantries, where community members can donate or pick up non-perishable food. So where can community members find those to be able to donate this season?
So the original Pine Pantry is in the Plaza District. And so we have one at each of our diners. And then the original S&B's on Burger Joint on Main 59th, they have a drop site, so you can drop off goods and they'll be collected and stocked in the pantries. And then, I mean, any of the pie shop, the taco shop, we're all collection sites as well.
I love that. Very cool. Easy to go enjoy a really good meal and drop off some non-perishable food at the same time.
It's a win-win.
It is, absolutely. And it's a great thing for families to do, especially, families that maybe are not quite comfortable getting back to volunteering in person yet and are looking for some socially distant options to volunteer or serve others. That's a great choice, and it's easy. So in addition to serving the community, I know you're very intent upon caring for your employees too. Earlier this year, Happy Plate Concepts committed to providing all employees across all of your restaurants a living wage as opposed to minimum wage in order to help improve their quality of life. Tell us more about that decision and how this type of commitment from businesses helps improve our community as a whole.
So one of the things, we talk about the pandemic and how it's like it changed everything and it's been hard, but I mean, our perspective is that it offered an opportunity to change up what you're doing, because you have to really take a look at being intentional about what you do, making calculated risks. And we just realized that it's always been Happy Plate's motto to take care of our people. We call them team members. Take care of our teams, because how can you expect your servers to give genuine service if they're having, if they're struggling to pay their bills and things like that? So that's a lot to ask. And the whole leave it at the door, motto that most businesses have, it's really tough to actually make happen. So we just care about our teams. And so this commitment is, we thought that our servers, sure, they're making like $20 an hour, right? Because we're so busy and tips are so great and they give great service. And when we took a look at it, we realized that on average, we're hitting 15. There are times when we're hitting 18 and going over that, but an overall average is not what we expected. And so it was important for us to help provide some consistency in their pay, that they can go to work and they know, I'm going to commit 40 hours to work and I am going to walk home with this amount, no matter what, whether it's a slow week or a busy week or whatever. Here's my minimum. And now I can plan my life around that. And I don't have to just, live paycheck to paycheck. So it was a really easy decision. And it kind of was one of those moments where we're like, why have we not always been doing this? It's scary because there are those slow weeks, and you especially in the climate that we're in right now, not just the natural slow weeks you have, but we've seen a lot of support from the community as well, respecting what we do, and so they want to support our businesses. So yeah, again, it's a win-win. Everybody wins.
I love that intentionality, Aly. It's really beautiful. And as you alluded to, the service industry as a whole has been hit really hard by the pandemic. What has that looked like for your team members? What do you want the community to know about the challenges the industry continues to face? And how can the community come alongside and help?
Really, the community can help by just continue to support your restaurants, whether it's, ordering food, whether online. If you're not comfortable with going inside, totally respect that. We have had to, again, just be really intentional in what we do. We've installed HVAC, like solar cleansers, they scrub the air. We have air purifiers going at all of our places. So we've had to really look at, are we creating safe spaces? What feels safe? And so again, it's like the new standard now. So that's the great thing, is that, okay, we didn't think about this stuff before, and now we get to be even more intentional moving forward, regardless of whether there's a pandemic. And so, that's the good things that I think that have come out of this, is being able to be innovative, to create new standards, to like raise the bar. And as far as the hardships, it's just making sure that, you're taking care of your teams in a healthy way, checking temps, things like that, and being able to support them in any way possible, emotionally and mentally, because this is tough. But the service industry, one thing is that they are very resilient. They're tough as nails. And so while it's been hard, it's been fun. just another adventure. And I don't know that there's too much that can take us service industry people down.
You're right that there has been a lot of creativity and innovation that has come out of this time, and especially for creative people, risk takers. I think that has been kind of an unexpected blessing that has come from it. I know we were talking before we started recording for our team, we've felt a lot of the same things, challenges, absolutely, but also maybe a little bit more freedom to think about things in a different way because we've had to. So outside of your career and professional life, what does giving back look like for you personally and for your family?
So I'm a mom of an almost 2-year-old. And so we had a pandemic baby, Elliot was like 4 months old whenever it all started. And so giving back has definitely looked different. Just interacting with humans has been different for him, being so young. But, when I was thinking about this question, I think the thing that we're doing right now, and one of the most impactful things that we're doing, is just being intentional humans, being good people, really trying to instill that even in Elliot. And what does a good human look like? Being aware, just loving on people. I think that's how we're trying to contribute right now to society. We've got some fun things planned for a project Winter Watch with the Pine Pantry couple. They have a winter program where they, collect sleeping bags and things like that. So we're going to be involved in the community, but as far as our family goes, I think it's just being very intentional in what we do, and making sure that we're just good humans.
When you think about raising Elliot and wanting him to be somebody who values serving others, who values giving back, what are some of your priorities? What are some of your dreams that you want to focus on with him as you're raising him, to kind of create in him that servant heart, that wish to give to others like what you have?
I think the thing that I really want to make sure that he gets is that you got to walk the walk and not just talk the talk, and to ask questions and to stand up for people, but do it in a kind way. And so really just being kind, and making sure that every action that he has, that it is with that in mind, and that we're not just talking about the good things or talking about the way we should be, that we're just living it.
That's so important. And I know for me, that value, teaching that to my 3 kids is so important. And sometimes I will be honest, I am guilty of, I get focused on the sight words we've got to learn and the reading charts, and got to get to soccer practice. And so that can get kind of buried for me and for my family, under the other stuff that we have to get done. So that's a really good reminder. And I love that you're starting that already with him. It's never too early with a child.
No,
it's
never too early. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, I think about how we all have our childhood things, that affect us as adults. And you don't know it's going to happen until you're an adult. You look back and you go through tons of therapy or whatever. But I'm trying to be so conscious of that this is, like, I have such an opportunity in front of me to raise a human in this world, and to just do everything that I can to make sure that he is a good person. That's my job right now.
I love that. That's perfect advice. And that gives good advice for me as we're headed into this season that oftentimes is really chaotic, to just keep coming back to that. So we know, obviously, we've talked about it. It's been a hard year for so many people in our community, but especially as we're moving through the end of 2021, I can hardly believe it. As we're moving into the holidays, where are you finding hope right now?
It's a good question. I mean, it is hard whenever you're just like in the day to day. But I see hope all around me. I find hope in um, the guests that I meet in our diners or, you know, in our concepts. I find hope in the team members that show up every single day, and it's not because, you know, it's not because we have a guaranteed wage, or it's not because it's just another job. It's because they really want to. I'm finding hope in my little boy and his growth. I mean, it sounds all, you know, like I live in a dream world or whatever, but I mean, again, it's part of that intentional living and looking for those things. And so it's not some big thing that I'm looking at. It's just kind of looking around every day and just being thankful and finding hope in the people that surround me.
I love that. Well, you've definitely provided me some hope today and some good reminders about priorities and where to focus, because you're so right. When we start looking for those things that are hopeful, they're everywhere. We just have to be intentional about looking for them.
Yeah, we call that at Happy Plate, we call that focusing on your highlights. We could talk all day long about what we could do better, you know, what I could have made this decision or made this move or scheduled this person or whatever. But what about the awesome things that happened? Because the whole day is not terrible. There are some highlights in there. And then how do you duplicate that highlight? How do you make that happen every single day? And putting your energy on that kind of stuff.
Oh,
So focus on your highlights.
that's so good. And I think for me, a lot of times my kids are such good examples of that. When I really slow down and watch them, they intuitively know how to do that. They're so good at it. And so I need to be more like them.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Aly. This has been so much fun. And like I said, has kind of rejuvenated my hope in the world. So thank you for providing that for me and for all of our listeners.
Thanks so much for having me.
For our listeners, you can learn more about Happy Plate concepts, community projects, and how you can help, plus, of course, their amazing food across all of their restaurants at happyplateconcepts.com. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Join us next time on Raising OKC Kids.